Right, okay. So it's 2 minutes past 10. So we'll look to get going and get started with our bi-monthly Ask the Expert session. So for those of you that haven't been with us before, just a quick rundown of how this session works. Crimson, as a leading Microsoft technology partner, are keen to bring you the latest technology insights and updates regarding some of the key Microsoft business applications that both our customers, our prospects, and people generally want to hear about. Um, and running this Ask the Expert session allows us really just in an hour to give you a whistle-stop tour of some of the latest and greatest technology innovations and exciting things that are coming out of Microsoft's front door. So in terms of today's session, we're covering Dynamics 365 first. We'll then drop into Azure with Steve. Ollie will look to cover the Power Platform capabilities and updates, and we'll finish with Caroline on the Microsoft 365 latest and greatest insights. We've always got time at the end for Q&A, but if you want to use the chat facility as we go through or raise your hand, please do feel free. So some of you, I think, coming onto the call have been with this session previously and have attended some of our sessions in the past. But just in case some of you, don't know who Crimson are, essentially, as I've just summarised, we help organisations really realise the potential and ROI with Microsoft business applications. As a modern technology partner, we realise that the technology and the implementations that we deliver are just one moving part of actually true digital transformation, which is why we believe in help our customers with the people and process side of transformation as well. In terms of the business areas that we cover, we're a Microsoft Business Applications house, and we have effectively capabilities across consultancy, across the Microsoft stack, cloud services, ongoing managed services for ongoing relationships and roadmap capabilities, as well as resourcing services. So that's both helping upskill your teams and helping you become more self-sufficient with the Microsoft technology, and also with our skills and recruitment arm, helping you find the right talent to bring into the teams and organizations that you have as well. So it's very much a solutions and skills play from Crimson. Again, an interesting point is that we're also part of the Nash Squared group, which means we have access to a much wider skills pool, IT talent, and have access to other capabilities such as Nash Tech, which provides offshore development and capabilities. So fundamentally, if you're looking from anyone from the CIO right the way through to project management, business analyst level capabilities and skills, whether you're looking to deliver solutions via Microsoft onshore with Crimson or offshore via Nash Tech, the Nash Squared brand and group has the capability to help you execute business solutions, drive IT talent, and effectively return ROI with the IT investments that you're making. We're fortunate enough to work with some fantastic brands here at Crimson. We work very heavily in the higher education sector with a number of universities. We're Affluent and Microsoft's go-to partner for UK home builders, and of course, housing associations as well. But we're also very lucky to work with brands that are actually outside of those key sectors. So organisations on large digital transformations with Microsoft business applications like Johnson Matthey. In addition to that, councils and automotive organisations like Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Volkswagen, and even logistics firms such as Hermes and Every. So in terms of the experts who are going to be running you through the latest updates and the sessions, we've got Adam, who's going to walk you through the Dynamics 365. We've got Steve, who's a regular with the Ask the Expert session on Azure. Ollie's going to come in and talk to you about the Power Platform capabilities, and Caroline's going to finish off with the Microsoft 365 capabilities and latest insights. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Adam to give you the first session, which is focused on Dynamics 365. Adam, over to you.
Cheers, Jordan. I'll share my screen now. So let me just swap that over. There we go. So yeah, first of all, we're going to be talking about Viva fails, which fits in really nicely with Dynamics 365, and obviously because it's on the Power Platform, fits across most other technologies on the Power Platform as well, such as Teams, which I'll be showing you in a second as well. So I thought I'd just start off with Microsoft's definition of Viva fails. So be more productive by harnessing the power of generative AI and combined CRM and Microsoft 365 data to deliver real-time insights and automatic content creation so you can get back to what you love, connecting with customers. I don't want to bore you too much with sort of presentations and stuff, so I'm going to go straight on into a demo. So what we're going to show first of all is the Viva Sales app and how that works with Dynamics. So you can see, sorry, Dynamics and Outlook. So you can see in front of you, we have our Outlook. We've just got an email that I sent earlier on. And you can see that this has been sent to a Alex of Trade Research. And on the right-hand side here is Viva Sales. So again, it works natively with Outlook and obviously with Dynamics as well on top of that. But you can see here, it's all driven by AI. So you can see on the first tab, we have sort of a summary of the thread. This is obviously only a one email thread at the moment, but it gives you a really quick sort of summary of what has been going on in the conversation. So say, for example, if it's quite a long thread, it will take a while to read through it properly. This little window here will give you a good idea of what has been said in that chat to keep you up to date and get you up to speed rapidly rather than having to read through loads of email chains. We can also save that summary as well. So this is something that we find handy, and rather than taking notes from it, we can just simply save that and that'll be downloaded to our computer. And also, if we had any updates in the email, say for example, if Alex came back with and she suggested a an appointment time or a meeting time, that would come up automatically in here and would allow us to simply press the button, create that record in Dynamics, so that is always tracked, and that will also link back to obviously this email thread. But obviously you can see we have this saved email icon. So that means that this email is also saved in Dynamics 365. So if we swap over to this other tab, you can see that because Alex Trade Research is already in our connected Dynamics 365 environment, that we have a load of information that's been automatically populated in this little window. So you can see that Alex is a part of Trade Research, and we have that account pulled through here. We also obviously have Alex Baker's actual contact record in Dynamics. And also, because we know that she's connected to Trade Research, we have any opportunities that are currently open that is linked to Trade Research that we can simply just click in and have a quick look at and sort of get a high level overview of what's going on with that opportunity record. Again, we also have the account linked to it as well. So again, we can have a really quick overview of that account rather than having to open up Dynamics 365 and sort of manually search for that account record. It's all done automatically for us in this little Viva sales window. So if we go back, what we can actually do is if we click into the contact record here, so again, this happens with any of the other records that you can see in here, so with the account, etc. as well, we have obviously our overview, which I just talked about, but if we wanted a little bit more information and we actually want to open up this contact record in Dynamics 365, all we need to do is click on these three little dots here, and we can either copy the link, so we can send that to someone, we can either edit the record directly from here, or we can actually open this in Dynamics 365. That pops open a new window. You can see that's brought up Alex Baker, her contact record in Dynamics, and you can see that we actually do have that email tracked in Dynamics right from the Outlook client. So I haven't had to do anything extra to get this into Dynamics onto the timeline. This was simply a case of just sending that email to Alex, and Viva Sales automatically recognised who the contact actually was and have linked that to the contact record of Alex Baker. And obviously, because the Alex Baker is linked also to the account of Trade Research, if we open up that Trade Research account as well, that email is also going to be tracked against the account's timeline as well. So there you go, you can see there. So it's all about having that sort of 360-degree view. So even if, say, you're not involved in the email thread, you always have a sort of an active awareness of what is going on with each contact and with each account. And if we just step back really quick, another sort of similar thing to the Viva sales is we have our sequencing on top of that. So we actually have a pre-built sequence, and we can actually send them an invitation email right from within Dynamics that allows us to quickly pop up a templated email that we can then send with a click of a button. You can see we have a template in here, but again, it's all about driving that automation and driving, the high quality data that we always want to keep tracked in Dynamics. And I mentioned earlier how obviously because Viva Sales, it's on the Power Platform. It's not just linked into Dynamics, it's also linked into Teams as well as many other things on top of that. So if I just open our Teams chat that we've got, so I'm talking to my colleagues Martin and Oliver, so basically it's just a chat to talk about trade research, but Viva Sales is linked automatically into Teams as well. So if we just give this a search, we can see Viva Sales, and that again gives us that same information. So because I've briefly interacted with Alex Baker and trade research, etc., that's coming up on our quick view here, but we can actually search for any record in this box, as well as opportunities, accounts, and contacts. And what we can do if we're collaborating and we don't want to keep on having to manually look through Dynamics when we're chatting about a certain record or a certain person, we can simply just click this little button here, and that gives us a link right to the Dynamics record, but it does also give us a little overview, again, similarly of what you would have seen in the Outlook client. But again, it's all about being able to collaborate across technologies on the Power Platform. And again, we can simply open this in Dynamics 365. There we go. We've got that same record popping up again. And furthermore, because Viva Sales is still in sort of it's not out fully yet, they would also integrate with Copilot as well. So it would actually help you to write response emails. So when you're actually composing the response, a little box pop up at the top here that will allow you, that will give you sort of suggestions and taking information from the whole of the email thread, and help you to form a reply using AI, using Copilot, all linked into Viva Sales. But unfortunately, this is all still quite pre-release, so we don't quite have access to that yet. But that is everything from me for the first part. So Jordan, I'm going to hand back to you.
Thanks, Adam. Much appreciated. So yeah, I think for me, Viva Insights and some of the capabilities that you've shown is going to allow, some of our customers, sales teams and teams in general really to, get more intelligent insights and updates about things that are going on in their day-to-day workspace that perhaps they just wouldn't have seen. So,
Yeah.
I think a shout out to any of our customers who are, looking to see more about some of the sort of actions, insights, and capabilities across certainly sales teams and potentially other teams as well. Viva Insights is something definitely that people should stand up and take notice of. And for the majority of our customers that are already using capabilities within the Microsoft 365 stack, like as Outlook, as you've shown, it's just an extension of that working world that they're already in. So actually, it's more of a case these days of just switching it on and letting it run rather than having to do a load of legwork to be able to get those insights. So
100%, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam. So our next session is to look at some of the latest and greatest updates on Azure. So Steve, if it's okay, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Jordan. Good morning, all. So I have two updates today from Azure World. The first is to do with Azure Migrate. So Azure Migrate is a well-established Microsoft Azure technology. It does what it says on the tin for migrating workloads from other clouds on-premise to Azure. There's been a preview feature which we'll run through today. So just a reminder, Azure Migrate, driven through the Azure portal. So if you have a migration project, the question normally is it compatible? How long will it take? Essentially, how much will it cost as well? So Azure Migrate is a very good tool at answering those questions quickly. What's the new feature? Just run my slideshow. One of the challenges when migrating workloads, and we're using application as an example, and perhaps it's run on classic virtual machines. So there'll be application servers, probably database servers. So you might look at migrating the application to Azure, and there may be 6 or 7 servers within scope. However, what can be challenging sometimes is understanding, dependent on where you're migrating from, the dependencies of those servers. Classically, there's Active Directory, DNS, load balancing, perhaps other services that those servers depend on. So to ensure that your scope is correct for migration, understanding those dependencies is essential. And Azure Migrate offers a service to do dependency analysis. So the new preview feature, that's been there for some time, but the new preview feature is that it doesn't require agents installing on each machine. So dependent on your environment or depending on the size of environment, having to install an agent on every machine can be somewhat intrusive, although it's a lightweight agent. Obviously in production, you might need to go change approval and scheduling, and can be somewhat disruptive. So the new feature is that the Azure Migrate discovery with the correct firewall rules in place can go and discover both Windows and Linux machines without having to put any agents on them. So it doesn't sound amazing, but it does make that discovery journey a lot easier and allows the dependencies there. We discussed that Azure Migrate is basically a portal-driven tool, so you live most of the life in the portal, setting it up, doing the discovery. There is an on-premise or an on-environment virtual appliance required. Then that virtual appliance then goes and does server discovery within a scope that you define, perhaps a network scope or a scope of authentication. And with this preview feature, we've now got the ability to discover these servers without having to put all those agents on. So a really beneficial tool. What does it look like? Well, as soon as that server starts discovering, you start getting a report back. So how many OSs there are on your distribution. This is taken from Microsoft's slide deck here. So quite a sizable farm of servers, 21,000. How many are running SQL, the assessments that are complete, etc. So it's very quickly when the assessment starts to run, you start to get a feel for compatibility. Are all these machines compatible with migration to Azure? And also you can start to see costing as well. What would the recommended sizing be in Azure and how much would it cost? You can get quite low level inventory of software that's on there. So that's useful to make sure that all the software is there. One of the things Migrate doesn't include, although the cost of your infrastructure services, be that servers, IaaS or PaaS, not necessarily licensing. So there's another essential consideration when migrating any workloads to the cloud, that licensing for things such as SQL, BizTalk, whatever you may have on-prem, is actually cloud enabled. And this is really the dependency. This is the good stuff, just to make sure that your confidence is high, that I may have 600 or 100 servers in scope, I think, but the dependencies then show actually these servers are reliant on some out-of-bound services or some on low-level services which weren't initially in scope, and either need migrating or B, need planning for service to replace them. So it's that confidence building and making sure the scope is correct. And again, we don't need an agent to do that anymore. How much does Azure Migrate cost? Nothing for 180 days. So depending on the size of your project, the efficiency of the migration assessment and also the migration itself, that can be completed within 180 days, then there is no charge. If it does go over that time span, then there's per server pricing and also some storage pricing as well. But the Azure Migrate assessment, certainly the assessment side of it, there's no charge for. Update number 2. So if you have an organization that has Azure experts or people that want to learn Azure, Microsoft have a wealth of information for learning Azure. It is really well written, really easy to digest, and there are good pathways for learning the basics of Azure through to architecture. There's obviously exams that are on the back of these learning plans as well. So accreditation within Azure, really useful. It could be that you know Azure fairly well, but you just want to gen up on perhaps a new area. So one of the new things that Microsoft have released is learning rooms. Connect with other learners and experts to dive into topic-specific skilling support and engage in helpful discussions, is what it says on the tin. What it actually, though, is rooms. So you are going through a journey of learning a specific subject with other people. And you can also obviously share your learning in the room, any questions. And essentially, it's a Microsoft Learn expert-led. So there are experts within these rooms that questions can be asked of or can give guidance. There's a quote here: learning rooms focus across several technology areas. So we've got Microsoft Cloud, Azure subjects, infrastructure, data and AI. So, you know, a breadth of Azure understanding. And essentially that each room is led by a Microsoft Learn expert. So a really useful way, especially perhaps if you're on a more long-term learning where you perhaps want accreditation at the end. So there's a community there to assist through learning. And essentially there's no charge. So if you sign up using Microsoft Learn, set up a profile, then you can join these rooms. That's everything for me this time in Azure World. Jordan, hand back to yourself.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I think you know, from your perspective, Steve, just a quick question to sort of ask you. I know there's tons of stuff that have been coming out on Microsoft's release from Azure. Certainly with the business update that they've been doing, and I know Satya and Della's been talking about some of the advancements that Azure was playing a part in. I suppose from your perspective, just wanting to get a little bit more understanding about Azure's role or sort of any sort of security insights as well, just very quickly, Steve, that you've seen. I know there's been a lot of talk over Microsoft's PRs about some of the increasing security I suppose releases that are coming in, and just I know that it might be saving it for a future conversation that you have and a future Ask the Expert session, but is there sort of a number of security enhancements that they're continuing to make around in Azure as well?
They're constant, and the hot topic is AI at the moment, isn't it? And within the security, Azure security, there's new functionality. It's quite new at the moment. We haven't really got our hands on it, so it certainly will be a future subject on the session. But the core of it is, especially in the Azure security world, there's so much noise, so it's ensuring that nothing is missed, and that things like AI can be utilized to really surface the immediate threats or things that need investigating further. So to make sure that for whatever team size you have, be it a person or a team of people looking at the security risks of an organization, that AI can be used. So that's currently just before preview, so we should hopefully get our hands on it. But that's the target of it, utilizing and as well. The other benefit of one of the benefits of Microsoft is the amazing data set they have of all of the information, you know, the attack threats, etc., worldwide across all of their regions within Azure. So that's bringing those two things together within the security world can only be beneficial.
Yeah, and I think a good example of that or a case study was if anybody on the course listening or watching this back, Sachin and Della did a piece about how some of the Azure technologies helped basically Ukraine understand that they were going to be invaded by Russia before it had happened, and they were able to use Azure capabilities to, you know, help you know, deprecate some of the Russian computer services, etc., and support Ukraine during that time. So definitely want to go check out on a YouTube or on a Google and Bing search. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Steve. That's really insightful, and looking forward to further security updates in the future, and more from you on Azure. Okay, so I don't think any of us have confessed that Ask the Experts is quite as well structured as something like an award ceremony like the Oscars. But in Oscars fashion, due to absence, and Ollie, who some of you will have seen previously, who talks, you know, and advocates really the Power Platform, isn't able to be with us this morning to give you a first-hand update, but he's kindly recorded himself talking through his update and some of the insights of Power Platform. So I'll hand over to Adam, who's able to share the video of Ollie talking to you guys about some of the Power Platform updates.
Yeah, cheers, Jordan. First of all, we've provided me with a quick presentation to go through to sort of set the scene. So, wrong screen. So if I just go through that really quickly, we'll get this going. Hopefully we could all see that well. So yeah, Ollie's just given me a quick presentation to set the scene, and then as Jordan said, he's got a video actually showing you through the demo of the app. So yeah, first of all, the wrap feature in Power Apps is a powerful tool that lets you wrap your Canvas apps as custom branded Android and iOS apps for native distribution to mobile users. This functionality allows you to distribute mobile apps through various channels like Microsoft Intune, Microsoft App Center, Google Play Store, and Apple Business Manager. The wrap feature supports customization, enabling you to match the branding requirements of your organization. You can also choose the app icon, splash screen image, sign-in screen image, and also the color palette. This capability brings native mobile application development platform capabilities to Power Apps, providing no-code mobile app development, seamless end-to-end branding, and enterprise governance. It also allows you to wrap multiple Canvas apps into a single mobile app package for distribution. So Crimson Homes, a thriving housing association, has always been an early adopter of the technology to improve its service provision. The organisation has been using several Canvas apps on the Microsoft Power Apps platform for different functions such as property maintenance, tenant services, and maintenance requests. However, they identified a problem. Their mobile user employees had to download and manage multiple apps for different services. This often led to confusion and hindered the user experience. Upon learning about the wrap feature in Power Apps, Crimson Homes saw an opportunity to improve the user experience while retaining their brand identity across their digital platforms. So if we just get through this bit. So they choose to create a new navigation app as their primary app to allow a single entry point for all users. After registering the app on the Azure portal, they created an App Center storage location for the build for their new consolidated mobile app. They then created a wrap project using the Tenant Services app as the primary app and incorporating the other applications as secondary apps within the same wrap project. To ensure the app felt like a seamless part of their brand, Crimson Homes took advantage of the wrap feature's branding capabilities. They chose app icons, splash screen images, find-in screen images, and color palettes that match their corporate identity. After initiating the build process, they downloaded, signed, and tested the mobile app package. The end product was a single unified mobile application that gave users all access of Crimson Homes services in one place. Once the app was distributed through Microsoft Intune, App Center, Google Play Store, Apple Business Manager, feedback from the users was overwhelmingly positive. The ability to access all services from a single branded application significantly improved the user experience. Another benefit was the app's ability to download updates automatically. Changes made to any of the Canvas apps within the wrap project would automatically be downloaded by the existing mobile app, ensuring that users always had access to the latest features and functionality. For Crimson Homes, the wrap feature in Power Apps revolutionized the mobile app strategy, consolidating multiple services into one user-friendly, brand-consistent mobile app. They have since seen increased usage of their apps, improving customer satisfaction, and an uptick in digital engagement. The success has cemented their commitment to utilizing the wrap feature for any app developments. And if I just quickly stop sharing and actually share my audio, we can get the video going as well. 2 seconds, share. There we go. So now we've got the demo from Ollie. Hopefully it's not too laggy and I will shut up for now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ollie Sinclair, Principal Consultant at Crimson. I hope you guys have had some really good sessions for some of the other guys that have been demoing today. I'm going to take you through one of my most recent discoveries from Power Apps, the wrap feature. It's been around for a little while, but they've actually added a new wizard to the process And so I felt like it was something that I'd like to revisit and share with you guys around. So without further ado, I'll get in it because I know I've only got 10 minutes, so I better hurry up. So, okay, the wrap feature. So in Power Apps, there is a powerful tool that lets you wrap your Canvas apps as custom branded Android or iOS apps for native distribution through the mobile, for your mobile users and through the mobile platform. So the functionality allows you to distribute that in multiple ways. So through Intune, through the App Center, through Google Play Store, and through the Apps Business Manager, Apple Business Manager. The wrap feature, it supports customization. So it enables you to match the branding of your organization. So if you can see on here on the standard logo that Microsoft bring out, this Contoso company. So you can choose the app icon, you can choose the splash screen, you can choose the color palettes that match your organization. And it really sort of the power of that brings sort of native mobile application development capabilities, but you can do it with no code using Canvas apps. So that's absolutely fantastic. So what I'd like to do is take you through a story around where I think it would be useful using the wrapper apps. So I'm going to take you through Crimson Housing. Crimson Housing is a thriving fictitious housing association that have always been an early adopter to technologies and improve their service provision. The organization has been using several Canvas apps, as you can see here. You've got the key movement app, inspection apps, some complaints and case management side of apps there. But there's also some property management apps, tenancy services and maintenance request applications. And there's lots.
I think we'll skip to the actual demo bit. I've already been through this. There we go.
So I can show you how it looks in the back end. So hopefully you guys should be familiar with the Power Apps backend. These are all my applications. So I've got a number of things going on here: Canvas app, model-driven apps, portals, etc. But as you can see, there's this Crimson Wrap app that I've created as that navigation app. In here, as you can see, it's branded to whatever you needed, and obviously this is just a very straightforward Canvas app using neuromorphic controls. One of the buttons. This is really important. So on the select of any of these buttons, it's actually launching other applications using PowerFX function launch. So what it does is just provides a string value, which is the Power Apps location and the Power Apps ID. Now, this is really useful. So very similar sort of formula to navigate. So where you navigate from one screen to another, you use it on the select. It would be navigate and then the name of the screen. This one is launch and then the ID of your Canvas application that you want to jump to. So that's really quite key in making all of these things work and talk to each other. And what I can show you now is the process in which you can then take your Canvas apps and create that Crimson or create that wrap app. So up here, you can see a button called wrap. You literally click that and it comes out with the wrap. I'm going to launch the new wizard, which is still in preview, but it will be coming into GA very, very soon. And it will take you through the steps that you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is obviously you've selected your primary app, but then you can go ahead and select your secondary applications. And then you actually want to choose your mobile targets. So for here, you can create a bundle ID, but you can then choose Android, specifically through the Play Store or iOS or all three. But you can also then choose to sign the app as you're building the application. You don't have to. You can switch this off, and then once you've built the application and it's in the App Center, you can go ahead and digitally sign that at a later date. That's not a problem. I'm choosing to actually sign that because I've got my certifications in my Azure Key Vault. There's some behind the scenes configuration that you need to do with Key Vault and setting up the right Key Vault URIs. That again is something that I can send a link across. I won't go into too much detail on that in this demonstration. You can then configure the branding. So you can choose your icons and the different sizes and where they actually sit within your applications, the splash screens, the welcome screens, and then your background fillers and your button fillers as well as your status bar themes as well. So you've got quite a lot of branding control there, and that is literally just the initial screens. As soon as you're into the Canvas app, then that Canvas app takes over in terms of the UI. You then register the application on Azure Active Directory. So the Active Directory creates a new app registration, or you can use your own app registrations if you have them pre-created. It will give you those connections and do the authentication. You obviously need to do the signature hash, which is around the certifications. Again, there's some hyperlinks into some Microsoft documentation for that. I'm not going to step into that today. And then effectively, you're managing your output. So where is this going to go? This is going to go to my App Center. You can log on to get your App Center tokens. And then once this has got the token, you can either find the right organization, create or find your own App Center locations, and away you go. You're going next. It gives you a bit of a summary, and then you can go ahead and build that. So what happens after that is you actually then get into the App Center, where you can see the Crimson's wrapper app has actually been built. And what you can then do is go ahead and look at distributing that. So I can go and click on that, and you can either download it and then send it wherever you need to get to, or sign it if you haven't signed it as a part of the build process. You can scan your QR barcode, get it downloaded, test it through an app, or obviously then distribute that through the distribution channels. So as you can see, quite a lot of functionality of different areas. So using Azure Active Directory, you've got certifications, digital signing, you've got the App Center, but it's quite a seamless process. Once you know what you're doing, it's a relatively straightforward process to go ahead and get those things done. So that's really what I wanted to show you today. I think, again, bringing the power of no-code Canvas applications into the native mobile space and keeping that branding is going to absolutely be brilliant for people. So what does that look like in terms of the what it would look like on a mobile device? You obviously then have your let's see if I can set up my mobile device, and then you can see that obviously you've got the Crimson device there, and it seamlessly then you can click through onto the different applications, and it goes through to the different applications. So again, from a mobile app perspective, very, very useful. So that's all I wanted to show today. Thanks very much. Hopefully you have a great rest of the week, and some more demos to come. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Feels weird saying to a recording, thanks, Ollie, but I'll say thanks, Ollie, anyway. Because you put the time and the effort to go through that. But no, it's fantastic. I think certainly a lot of the sectors that we work with, Power Apps and Canvas Apps has played a huge part in internal productivity, and to be able to sort of see those advancements of, unifying some of those capabilities and keeping everything on brand means that, you guys as customers of Microsoft using Power App capability to drive internal productivity, can enhance that experience further, and moreover, as well as improve the user experience, and from a maintenance perspective, should be easier for your IT teams to actually, consolidate applications and keep them all together. Okay, so for the fourth and final session of this morning's Ask the Expert session, I'm going to hand over to Caroline to talk us through some of the Microsoft 365 updates. So Caroline, over to you.
Okay, thank you. So today I thought I would carry on the theme of Viva. So we've talked about Viva sales, but Viva has a whole suite. So I thought I'd go through that and also touch on Copilot. They're coming into our organisations, and we really need to start to prepare for these now. So Viva Suite, there's lots of different things that Microsoft are branding as Viva. So we've got Viva Connection, Viva Engage, Viva Insights, Viva Topics, Viva Learning, Viva Goals, and we saw Viva Sales earlier from Adam. I thought I'd take you through a few of these and just show you what they're like. And some of them I can show you, some of them it'll be a little bit of talking about, but I don't like slides, so I'm going to have to show you something. So Viva Connections is our dashboard that we can use to communicate with our staff. And instead of a bit like Ollie said about all these different apps where we've got to go off and get things and have lots of apps on our phones, with this dashboard we can bring information from different parts of the business into one screen. It plugs into Teams, and so when we're in Teams we can look at it on our mobile phone, or we can look at it into the Teams app. It's driven from the home site, so from your SharePoint home site, and then you can set up different sites as news sites. So you might have only set up one, but you can actually set up quite a few different news sites. And it's these news sites that will populate the feed that you see on the right-hand side, which is a news feed. So we've got information coming in from there. The dashboard itself is adaptive cards. So there's some out of the box that you can just use, things like My Tasks, and obviously links to the other Vivas, but you can also add in your own. So showing from mine, if I go into what ours looks like, this is our Crimson Viva connections. It's just a dashboard, and you can see I've got a few little cards here. I've got Crimson News. I've got a link to the old Harp should update that, the Nash Squared website. I've got some tasks list. Fortunately, I'm so up to date, I've got none assigned to me. I've got a link to the Crimson website. I can book a desk using our desk booking application. I can see if I've got any approvals waiting for me to do. I can look at any power apps I've got. So you can just create these little cards that are useful to you as a team, and then people can go in there. So it's relevant, it's information that's relevant to staff instead of them to go and look for it. The news, as I say, is a feed coming through, so you can see these coming from news pages on your intranet. So again, it's good to have that planning, so we can help you with this when you're setting up your SharePoint sites. Make sure you flag which are your news sites, which is your home site, because you'll need that for this to work. You've also got frequent sites, followed sites, and useful resources, and we can go in and edit those dashboards. So I wanted to show you that one, which I think is I currently use that now. It's good and it's available to us now. Going back to our slides, and oops, let's go on. So the next one to talk about is Viva Engage. So Viva Engage is actually rebranded Yammer. But I'm seeing organisations use this a lot more now. So we used to, people were afraid to use it as that social sort of thing. I've seen a lot more organisations engaging with this. So you can use communities for that social thing. So people can set up communities. So you might have a community of people that are interested in a particular sport, and they can talk about that. Lots of people have got dogs these days, so you might have a dog owners community, so you can have the social side, but you also have things where you can have information pushed through. So you can have the CEO's news blog. Our CEO of Nash Squared is very good at using Yammer, and so our company actually log on to Nash Squared's Engage, as it's now called, and we can read updates from there. But you can do polls, you can get a very quick survey and ask questions and engage people in there. There's also something else you can do through Engage, which I don't know whether people are aware of, but you can do a live broadcast through Engage, and then the beauty of that is the recording goes into your Engage, and so people that weren't able to attend the meeting can go in and comment on that meeting after the event. You can do that with professional equipment, but you can actually do it through Teams. So on the slides, which I'm sure we'll make available to you afterwards, I have actually put in there the steps that you can go through to schedule a live event in your Engage. And the great thing is, as I say, it's available afterwards, so anyone that wasn't available can watch the video, and they can also continue to discuss that and be engaged with you. But actually during the event, you've also got that, because it's a live event, you've got the ability for people to have questions and communicate, and you've got the different presenters. So that's something you might want to consider if you're looking at using Engage. The other one you'll hear is Viva Insights. So Viva Insights is it's partly rebranded My Analytics. So you may have seen me present in the past on My Analytics, which tells you when you've been working too much out of hours and how many calls you're having, how much time you've spent in meetings. And it's built on that, but it's built a whole lot more on top of it. It's bringing in, you've got your personal insights. So some of you may already get the digest email on a daily basis, which tells you where you might have received an email or sent an email that says, I will do something, and it will remind you to say, have you done that? It will also prompt you to maybe book some focus time, book some time to have breaks or lunch breaks and things like that. We've also got team insights. So that's where you can look at who is in your team, so your colleagues, how you're interacting together, how many of your staff, your team, so as a manager you can look at it as well and use this, how many of your team are working out of hours, how many of your meetings are overrunning, how many of your team are attending meetings late or not turning up at meetings, how many people are doing multitasking, so they're in a meeting but they're also sending emails while they're in there. It does sound a bit Big Brother, but it's more it's numbers rather than names. So it is statistics, so you don't have to worry too much about Big Brother. There's also organisation insights. So this is again that analysis of how many, looking at all those teams and all those. So we've got team insights for the team managers, and then we've got organisation for the people at the top, for the managers of that, to look at all the different teams. How are they working together? How are they interacting? Who's being productive? Who's absolutely out of it? They're working too many hours. Who's underproductive at the moment? There's also advanced insights, which is a new one, and this gives you an admin app, but this is something like for your CEO. So for instance, Bev, Nash Squared CEO, we would be able to tailor a report for her that she would be able to see how productive each of the different organisations are. So she'd be able to see both Crimson and Nash Squared in there and be able to compare and see how people are working and how the workflow goes through there. So that's available to us. Viva Topics is one of my favourites. So Viva Topics is one where this is really pushing AI to its abilities, and it is really good. You can set up, it is based on a SharePoint site, so that's going to make me happy. But we can set up topic areas, but as well as us going in and creating a card, so we can go, I could create a page and say it's all about SharePoint. I can put links to our documents that currently exist. I can put links to colleagues in there. These are people that you want to talk to. I might put links to different projects we've worked on for SharePoint, and that becomes a topic. And when you search, it will become in the search results, and I can actually do a document and tag it as SharePoint, so it becomes linked into this, and it's absolutely brilliant doing that knowledge base that we've always wanted to do but not been able to get. It's searching your emails, it's searching SharePoint pages, it's searching SharePoint documents. The big thing here is preparation. So if you're going to use this, we need to get rid of the dross out of the things, because if you've got out-of-date documents with absolute rubbish, obsolete information in them, then we want them gone. So now's the time to start thinking, if we're going to be using this AI, Copilot and Viva, we need to be starting to tidy up our data. But Viva Topics works with search as well. So if I'm in the search, and this morning I went in and I searched for SharePoint, you can see I get an explanation of what SharePoint is. It links to the document where it just got that information from. It's telling me people that I can talk to, other topics that I might find information about it in, and some resources. So it's really powerful. We're not having to manually do that. AI is picking that up for us. Another Viva is Viva Learning. Viva Learning allows you to set up your own courses that you want to attend. So there's courses that you can get from other providers as well. So a lot of the ones you'll see on my screen are from LinkedIn, but you can pick what you're interested in. So you pick your interests, and then the system goes off and it finds learning for you. And so you can use your internal learning materials as well as external materials from Microsoft and LinkedIn. You can then tag those, you can pop in, do a bit of the course. It'll keep a track of what's in progress and how you're doing with those learning. So again, really useful tool, and plugs into Teams. Every one of these plugs into Teams. Viva Goals is more of an organisation-wide tool, but again, it allows you to set up goals for yourself as an individual, but also goals as a team and goals as the whole organisation. So you can, if you've got multiple organisations, then you can have a different goals page for each of those organisations. You can set up teams, you can set up those objectives, you can track those and see if anything's at risk, you can assign them to other people and keep track. And it's one dashboard that all of you can see. It's not project, it's just something about these are our strategic goals. These are things that we want to do, that and we want to keep track of it, and we want to share it. We want to let everybody see that everyone's part of it, and let's all strive to reach these goals that we've achieved. So how do you get these? How do you get them? Well, you do have to pay for some of it. Some of it you will get depending on your licensing. So you'll see that you get Viva connections if you've got a Microsoft Office 365 plan, either the E1s to E5s or the F1 to F3. You can go in and you'll be able to use connections. You do need a SharePoint homepage set up. The rest you can do, and it's quite straightforward. I'm happy to help you do that. Viva Learning as well, you get if you've got those plans. Viva Insights, you get the app, so you'll get the personal insights. But if you want the premium ones like the manager and the team, you will have to pay for those. Again, Goals is part of the suite, and Viva Sales we know is a separate price as well. So looking at the price of that, Jordan found this for me this morning, so thank you, Jordan. £7.40 per user per month for the whole Viva suite, if you wanted to go with those. But as I say, you can use the learning and you can use connections now. If you're going to use topics, I'd encourage you to tidy up your data before you start using those. How are we doing for time? I think I'm probably out of time now. So next time we'll talk about Copilot, but there's a video which I'm going to put in the chat. We'll put the link to, and I'd encourage you to watch that to get you excited about what's coming with Copilot. With that, I'll hand back to Jordan.
Thanks, Caroline. That's great. Yeah, I think certainly Microsoft see Viva well placed to disrupt and transform and improve the colleague work experience, across all of the different applications. Certainly we're seeing it embedded more and more at Crimson across our SharePoint capabilities and other Microsoft 365 capabilities, but some fantastic product capability that they've released there. And to Caroline's point, if you haven't had a go and had a look at it already, we encourage you to do so. But please, with a word of caution, this is your excuse to go and tidy up and improve the data quality, document quality, and data storage set that you have to make sure that you're getting the most from these tools that Microsoft are bringing out. Okay, so just a final word from us, really, to give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. But if you could do so, as well as doing so, kindly share with us, or first and foremost, follow us on LinkedIn to get the latest and greatest updates from the Ask the Experts webinar sessions. We've got a QR code link here for you guys to be able to complete the survey and give us some feedback about A, how you thought today went, but B, what topics you'd like to see in the future. It'd be great to see if you do have any questions. Caroline, I'm going to start with the first question, which is, how do users on Teams now create the avatars?
Yeah, this is a bit of fun too. And if you're in a meeting, you will see on the toolbar, if you've got it, you will go to More, and there's now a button for effects and avatars. So you can go and create your own avatar in there and have hours of fun and changing them. And so, yeah, great to see. Steve's done his, Jordan's done his now. So I think we'll probably lose half a day with everyone playing with avatars, but it's there. So start thinking
Indeed.
about how you're going to use them.
Yeah, I think as we move more and more into what people are describing as the metaverse, we'll see more and more of this. So yeah, a bit of an interesting way to end the session. But if there's no more questions from the audience, first and foremost, I want to say thank you again to all of our experts and for you guys for putting together presentations. Some really interesting insights there. As always, the next one will be in circa sort of 8 weeks' time. And yeah, please do just fill out the survey for us and let us know what topics you'd like to cover. And for those of you watching this as a video on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, get in touch if there's anything you want us to cover off in the next one. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you all.
see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.